Growing up in Bathurst, an area full of many talented trainers, drivers and horses, Jack Butler's upbringing around the Turnbulls exposed him to what would become a lifelong passion. After his time in Bathurst, he took a gamble to move away from home, and his name is now synonymous up in the Sunshine State.
Well, I was pretty young. I had a schoolmate I went to school with, and which ended up being Jenny Turnbull's brother, sorry. Yeah, ended up knocking around with him for a bit and then got out to Steve and Jenny's. Yeah, went from there and ended up living there and at a young age and went from there and just, the rest is history. As a kid, we used to come every 3-4 months of the year with the Turnbulls. Yeah, I just kept coming back after that when I went out on my own down there, and just got to like it more and more. And I sort of probably struggled a little bit with clientele down there, and being next door to the Turnbulls, they're probably going to get it over me. So this opportunity arose, and we took it with both hands, and it cost a lot of money, of course, but we got there, and but we haven't looked back. Yeah, it's been unreal.
Surrounding himself with notoriety of the Turnbulls didn't hurt his chances for success. Jack believes that his life in Bathurst and his work alongside Steve Turnbull was something that he never took for granted.
Yeah, no, it's a very, trotty place. There's a lot of people that into the trotting, and it was a great place to grow up, other than the cold. Don't miss that at all. But it was a great place. It was great. You had the likes of AD, he was driving still then, and very hard man to drive against. And Steve, in my eyes, probably one of the best drivers till this day in my eyes. But it was great. I learned a lot, and especially a lot about the training. And Steve's a great trainer, and it was a really good upbringing.
Before Jack's training career took off, Jack's ambitions were to become a driver. He was lucky enough to have had the opportunity to drive some special horses whilst he was still in Bathurst, but ultimately he decided that training was the path he was going to pursue.
That's all I wanted to do when I was younger, but I got a bit big, and so I sort of backed off the driving, and since I moved up here I got a few trotters and started driving a few of them, and it was good fun, and it's good to be back in the bike again. But they just sort of run too fast these days to be pulling me, so I leave it for the skinnier ones. Probably the best horse I ever driven, really. It was only in a trial with Smooth Satin. I got to qualify him. For Steve, he was away at the time, and but that was the only time I got to drive him. But anyway, it was good. And then went on another nice horse like Smooth Dixie. I got to drive him a lot, and then lucky enough to get him to drive and Dinky Die, which sort of took me around the countryside a bit, which was great. And thanks to Chris Risby and the team, it was really good fun following him around.
The gamble he took to move to the Sunshine State has paid off for Jack, but he owes a lot of it to the clientele who also took the plunge with him. None more so than Rod Smith. Rod allowed Jack to take over a dozen of his horses to Jack's new facility in Queensland, and it even gave Jack his first ever group winner in Usain Flash, a favourite of his and the family.
Well, a lot of them have come since I've come here, and which is the reason, the gamble we took, and it's paid off. But I've really got to thank Rod Smith. He was with me in Bathurst, and he let me bring I think about 15 of his horses up here, and a few of them were well graded and going really nice at the time, and that sort of kicked me off really well. Usain Flash, he was sort of my first group winner. He won the size final, and that he was a terrific little horse, but injury plague sort of pulled the pin on him. But we've had I think we've had a few $100,000 winners and things like that, and had some handy ones on the way through. We haven't had that champion yet, but we'll keep trying.
Currently, the likes of Chris Geary and Brendan Barnes are an integral part of Jack's team, and he strongly advocates the idea of incorporating upcoming talent into his team. He firmly believes that everyone should get a chance at getting their foot in the door, just like the Turnbulls did for him.
Yeah, the whole thing's a team effort. No single person. Everyone, as you know, everyone's got to pull their weight, and Brendan definitely does that at home and on the track. I really like him as a driver. He thinks in a race, and I think him going to Sydney really helped him a lot too. As much as I wasn't happy about it when he did, but I think it's made him a better driver and that as well. So, but I love having him on my horses. Look, I come through as a young one, and it's hard to get a go, into a stable and things like that. And And I think too, Rod Smith's really big on giving the young people a go. So I know of any of his horses I can just put on anyone, you know, like that. But yeah, everyone deserves to have a go, and you've got to start somewhere.
Speaking of emerging talent, Jack's eldest daughter Chloe has recently taken her spot in the gig. A thrill for the whole family, but none more so than Jack.
She's going well, she loves it, and yeah, so it's good. She loves the horses, and you know, everything's done properly with her, and so it's great. She's keen to go to other places, like she'd like to go over, and at one stage I know she'd like to go over and work for Purden and Natalie Rasmussen, and but I don't know, she's sort of got the bug, a couple of winners here now, so I don't know what she'll do, but you know, it's all at her feet, and she can do whatever she likes.
It didn't take long for Chloe to get into the winner's circle, and for Jack, it was a moment that he remembers very fondly.
I haven't had goosebumps for a while, and about a race anyway, but yeah, that really made the hair on my neck stand up, and no, it was really good.
The memory is also not lost for Chloe. It's a memory that she'll always cherish.
I was behind the leader and was just cruising along, waiting for my chance. Hopefully the leader got me to the sprint lane, and it did. Got the biggest goosebumps and shaking, excitement.
Chloe found her calling at a young age, something she will not take for granted, and she has set some ambitious goals to achieve along the way.
Oh, I've always had a love for horses. I've always wanted to be a driver. It's been my dream forever. When I jumped in the gig for the first time when I was about 6, just was fun. Just knew I wanted to do it. Just living the dream. Hopefully have a couple horses of my own, training and driving. I've always wanted to go to America just to see what it's like and see how different it is, but see what happens.
With a well-established operation underway in Queensland, the future looks bright for Jack and Chloe. But what does Jack think the future holds for him and the team?
Always strive to get that good horse to win them group races. That's the thing I've always tried to do. But not really. We're pretty happy and just cruise along and yeah, chip away what we're doing.
Yeah, great story.